Hi, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Lumiere Startup Saturday. We are on season two and we are on episode four with Dr. Aparna Rao. Dr. Aparna Rao has been an educator in entrepreneurship for the past 25 years. So I'm delighted to connect her with our ecosystem of the Startup Saturday. And currently, we met, Dr. Aparna, welcome. And we first met when you were with Chetnas, the management school.
That's right. 2008, I think.
2008, and thanks to our your sister and our colleague Smita Satpute, we connected, and that's how I have been following Dr. Aparna Rao's journey and her passion for uh, empathy. I think also for the ecosystem, tremendous amount of empathy she brings into her teaching, her students, the consumer, the customer, and her I really want to tell you, want her to tell us how she got interested in entrepreneurship so many years ago when, it really wasn't something that we were thinking about as a discipline and a subject as it is today.
Right. So, thanks, Deepa. First of all, thank you for having me here today. Mm, I never really ever thought that I would have to, I would share this kind of a story ever, on a forum like this. So, entrepreneurship was always, I think, that fascinating world, and I found myself drawn to reading, news reports about different type of entrepreneurial activities, be it an individual or an organization, and I was always fascinated by the way entrepreneurs can drive so much of change
Mm,
and they see what you and I don't see.
yeah.
So like if I had to give your example also, you saw that gap which you felt that okay, I can do something here and build on this and actually make it a body of work,
Yeah.
that's what entrepreneurs can achieve. So that is why I was always fascinated. And in 2008 it may not have been very fashionable.
It
Even
wasn't.
yes, even today it's not technically, meaning it's fashionable in one sense, but it still has a long way to go. But
Hmm.
in 2008, when I started at Chetna's Institute, I saw that we are in an MBA institution and our students are learning business management, and they had to understand entrepreneurial thinking,
Mm,
understand qualities of an entrepreneur, like being proactive, being it's easy to say think out of the box, but it's easier said than done. So all
yeah.
these things put together, and Chetna has had a very supportive management those days. They still do, I suppose. But when I had access to the CEO, and I would directly go there and say, okay, ma'am, we need entrepreneurship development in our campus. And when if we do that, we would be a kind of trendsetters, because I see this coming in the next 10 years
Wow.
into the field of education. And that's true also. So meaning we are seeing it happen, right? So that is how I got interested, and all my colleagues felt that I was doing something different or something not
Mm.
not necessary. So, and my belief always was that it is necessary, and this is going to drive India to the next level. So that was where my belief always uh,
Yeah.
sat.
It's interesting that you talk about two things. One is the mindset, what is the mindset of the entrepreneur, and why today, even in management, we talk about you need to think like a business owner. You need to have a proactive approach to management, to whatever work that you're doing. How do you bring your whole self to work? That's the discourse that has started about entrepreneurial thinking in
Correct.
management. And the second point you talk about, again, very important, is opportunities. Uh, how have you seen this journey? Because after that, you went to IIT
Mm.
and you
That's right.
spent some years with IIT.
Right.
So there it was again technology, entrepreneurship in tech.
Tech.
And there was
Mm.
also a dimension that you brought in of uh, the social entrepreneurships
That's
angle, right?
that's right.
Plus early budding entrepreneurs. So you were involved with Sign. So tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yes. So Chetna's actually was my uh, early grounds where I started exploring the field and started understanding what it involves. When my engagement with IIT Bombay started as a result of that, of all the reading, I went to the National Entrepreneurship Network, and then I read about IIT Bombay. I read about Sign. I read about the e-cell, and that's when I sensed that you cannot box in students into a classroom and say, okay, we're going to talk and teach you entrepreneurship. It
Yeah,
had to be experiential, it had to
correct.
be interactive, it had to be immersive. So I took my students for the e-summit at IIT Bombay in 2009, I think, 2009 or
Ah,
10. So that entire experience was absolutely a game changer for some of my students. Who one of those boys in fact did not take help from his father for his fees. He decided to do some event management company on the side. So he did a side hustle. With those revenues, he paid his fees, and he paid a
ah,
fine because he was delayed in paying the fees. But he refused to take any money from his
what a story.
father.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's
So
that's that's
moving
how.
from that sense of entitlement that you see young people have to saying,
Correct,
I need to apply entrepreneurship to find
correct,
what is the need
correct,
space that I want to unlock and become
correct,
financially
correct.
independent.
Absolutely. And so that's where I said no, IIT is the place to learn about the ecosystem, to understand and build. So when this opportunity came in IIT Bombay, it was not really a teaching position. They wanted me to be like a senior manager where I would be coordinating between various departments to set up the center. The center wasn't ready then. It was a virtual center, and we were trying to build everything. So the courses had to be designed, and there was just one professor in charge, Professor Anand Kosare, again one of my gurus. So that's how it started, and they saw that I had this academic understanding. What you meaning? How do you deal with a class? How do you deal with students? How do you manage the various processes in academia? And also this, I think, passion, the love for entrepreneurship as a field.
Yeah,
So that I think that's why I got this opportunity, and I worked there for over 7 years. And
yeah,
in my tenure, we could develop some very interesting programs, some very interesting courses, and that's where a lot of learning and the world of entrepreneurship really opened up. And one thing I learned is that it's such a democratic field. We don't
yes,
have democratic structures, so to say. You don't have to say anything. But
yes.
then I found that you don't have to be an engineer to run a technology company,
Ah, well
or
said.
or you don't have to be a lawyer to set up a law firm. You had so all those kind of things, and I said, wow, this is the field where India should go into. And very naturally it progresses to society, because you cannot operate in isolation. You can No business can ever operate in isolation. So when even if somebody's it may not be an entrepreneur, you may say that he's a chaiwala, but if he is employing two other people, giving them an opportunity to maybe deliver chai to send 10 people, at least that other person is getting some income because of this humble chaiwala. It's that powerful. So and when we talk about IITians looking at serious tech ventures, they are looking at enabling so many elements in the system. So one piece of technology, and it can be such a multiplier. So, and we are experiencing it, right? Our payment gateways, our digital platforms, all of these. So that is where the world opens up.
Amazing. And of the sectors, just like there is the business, there is also the social sector, and at the heart of it is really can I say, the mindset and the opportunity and the empathy to your ecosystem.
Right. So at the heart of empathy to the ecosystem, I think is such so very needed. So let me give you an example here. At IIT, students are experimenting and exploring different technology interventions for various problems. So one team comes to me and says, and we have a program called Ideas, which is innovation. Sorry, I forget the full form, but innovation development and entrepreneurship through alumni support. That's what essentially the essence is. So
Wow.
and this team and under the Ideas program, students get a very small grant to develop their product or develop their company and take their startup from a concept to something more tangible, which can be seen, felt, talked about. This team said we need to buy a truck. They came into me to came into my office and said, "Ma'am, we need a truck." Now, IIT's rules and the framework, and not just IIT, no institution has this kind of a framework which says, all right, if students need a truck, we need to give it to them. So,
Unique request.
absolutely, absolutely. So that's where
Out
empathy,
of the box.
absolutely out of the box, and that's where your empathy comes in. So you need to, that they're trying something. Now I need to figure out, I can't give them a truck, but I can facilitate some things where they can get access to a truck and test out their product.
Yeah. So,
Test.
what is their interest? Why do they need the truck for? You need to go deep to understand that.
Exactly, exactly. What do you need the truck for, and what is it that you want to achieve with the truck? So
Correct?
that kind of that is where empathy comes in, and I think our ecosystem, the entrepreneurship ecosystem, requires this sensitivity and sensibility to be able
Yeah.
to cater to all these outlandish, non-conventional requests that students have.
Yeah. Also, who are they building for? So, if I am creating something, a product for Dharavi,
Hmm.
like Professor Narendra Mehta,
Hmm.
and what is it that those kids are going to eat? And why should that kid in Dharavi have any different aspirations from the kids staying in Saint Kolivada or Jain Society or, going to a different school because they are exposed to the same set of stimuli socially. And who are we to say that they should be eating some protein product as opposed to wanting to eat Lay's or Pringles?
Absolutely, exactly. That's exactly where empathy comes in, and we need more people with this understanding across the levels in academia to help and enable student entrepreneurship.
Then you also got exposed to the Tata Center for Technology and Design.
Yes, so IIT Bombay is such a vibrant, such a vibrant place. You wouldn't know when you visit it randomly. You just see that it's a very calm and beautiful campus. But once you go deeper, every part of it, so the Tata Center, be it the IRCC, be it the new, be it SIGN, be it BETIC, be it the School of Entrepreneurship, be it the student body, the tinkering lab, whatever. There is so much activity happening. So, yes, Tata Center looks at social innovation, where they had some very interesting projects related to water management, related to soil testing, related to farming techniques, precision farming, and what and there is also another body called Sitara in IIT. another department, that is Center for Technology Alternatives for Rural Areas. So there too, they keep bringing in tech interventions for rural issues. So their Rural Technology Action Group, RUTAG, they designed something called a fishing net which would help small farmers and small ponds, different types of designs. Of course, I'm not the best person to talk about it, but a lot of these things worked, kind of resonated. So
What
again,
I It's also ecosystem, right?
right,
The ecosystem approach.
ecosystem approach. So it's not a one-off. It has to be the ecosystem. It has to be the ecosystem. So the social entrepreneurs from Tata would also come into the DS school for the entrepreneurship courses. Students from DS school would also go into Tata Center for exploring their own ideas related to any social activity. So that give and take constantly happens.
You also did something for women entrepreneurs and the special work for around mentorship for them. You want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think at one level you're an academic, but I see a big part of you wanting to do a lot of lab work to say how does this idea really work, and really that tinker with that idea and that help that person find a path. I think you do that so gently, quietly, and effectively with a lot of impact, Dr. Aparna. So tell us about that.
Oh, thank you. So that's such a nice thing you said. So women entrepreneurship again kind of happened because CGI came in with a CSR project saying that they wanted to support women in entrepreneurship. And this program had to be designed and this had to be sort of supported. Now, it's not necessarily women entrepreneurs, any entrepreneur for that matter. Nobody has the time or the bandwidth to keep attending courses after courses, sessions after sessions, or whatever input you would like to give them. So then we had to make it an engaging, organic process where the members could come in, experience the network, and also run sessions. So in the Women Entrepreneurs group, you have people who are great at market connects and selling, and great points of sale also. They can be your marketing arm by themselves. And then you have others who can be your digital partners. So that kind of a network approach had to be formed. And the idea behind this cross mentoring, I had also asked you that because you, veteran entrepreneurs, seniors like you, guiding the upcoming entrepreneurs. So you had to only facilitate interactions and leave it at that. And that have happened effectively, especially during COVID, because we were all online.
Yes,
So
very
we
true.
everybody, that way.
In fact, a couple of them, like Moshmi, came
Hmm.
on our Learning Monday
Correct.
for Gratify.
Hmm.
Aspire for her
Correct.
again.
Correct, correct. So,
They
women in
came.
entrepreneurship is such a lovely group, lovely, and it's not a cohort or it's not like a structured program. It's a quiet support system for people who
Community.
community where you can simply reach out and get some support. That's
And
the
there
way.
again, you have all walks of life.
Correct, exactly.
Kanchan is there in Bangalore, and
Right, right. Kanchan is into social entrepreneurship as well as into fintech.
correct.
Again,
Dwivedi
yes. And Kanchan is an ecosystem in herself.
herself because of her Stanford connection.
Absolutely. So she, by herself, she brings in contacts from the defense, she brings in contacts from the fintech, finance, everything. And she herself is so bubbly that she has a lot to offer and she's willing to. The point is
Aparna,
willing
you
to.
are also very interested in Bharat, India too, and entrepreneurship there. You want to, the last segment, just 5 minutes, you want to just touch upon that work that you are doing and your current role. in NMIMS and your association there? Maybe we can just talk about these two things.
2 minutes. All right, sure. So, social entrepreneurship again. Again, I all these terms entered my life after I started actually engaging in the work related to these terms. Okay, so that's how it started. So, very many years ago, I read about Mahindra and Mahindra's innovation where they designed tractors for women. And I was so fascinated by the way the article described the social impact of this innovation, the economic impact, and all of that. And I always, again, going back, that's where everybody can interact, businesses, government bodies, and society and academia also. So that always took me kind of, got me interested. Now, after IIT, after I quit IIT and moved into NMIMS back into a teaching role, an academic role, here I'm leading the entrepreneurship ecosystem and trying to develop this system, a process for the student body first at NMIMS, trying to emulate the IIT model, so to say. Of course, we're a very long way away from there. The second thing is it also gives me a lot of freedom to do things in society. So I am doing a project in Silvassa where we are working with women's groups, and seeing the impact on the ground is so fulfilling. 2021 is when we started. I remember it was COVID still, COVID hadn't gone, things hadn't
Yes.
opened up. My first visit, we were with our masks and had a group of 20 women attending, and I was talking to them about self-help groups, how they said कि ये नहीं होता है क्योंकि हमको ऑलरेडी किसी ने फंसा दिया है, पहले ही किसी ने हमसे पैसे लिए और हमको फंसा दिया, हमारे
Oh.
पैसे लेके भाग गया. So first, and I was appalled to see that people who find 25 rupees a week difficult to put together have been cheated of that small money. That was the way it started. And when I spoke to them about the government support system that exists for self-help groups and all that, they sort of got convinced. Took me 10 months to get them to actually form their self-help groups and all that.
Mm.
But today, 2024, there are 8 self-help groups, over 90 to 100 women who are now ready to run their own small micro enterprises, not small, micro. So some groups are making papad, they are also growing mushroom. Some of them are growing vegetables and also got into sewing bags and taking orders for them. All those kind of products, handmade soaps, handmade products. This group that makes soaps and cleaning products actually discovered a need within their community. So they, according to the Shops Establishment Act, maybe I got the name wrong, but under that act, you're not allowed to set up shops in those certain areas. They're all
Ah.
semi-tribal, semi-forest areas. So this group said those people who are living there need soaps, they
Mm.
need cleaning products, they need sanitary products, they need female hygiene products. And
Mm.
they said, all right, instead of making things, let us first start with reselling female sanitary product. And they started seeing the money. And
Ah.
now, then they realized, oh, they need these things as well. And they said, okay, ये तो हम बना के बेच सकते हैं. And they
Mm.
started making it and they discovered their local market and selling it there itself. So what happened is their incomes have not phenomenally increased, but their confidence has gone up several notches. And
Wow.
and their basic income of 5 to 8 thousand is there, continues, but they're also doing these hustles
Yeah.
and getting that additional income. And today they have the confidence कि okay, हम कुछ ना कुछ करके हम ऐसे पैसे तो कमा सकते हैं and हमारे बच्चों को पढ़ा सकते हैं.
That is
That's
the core need, educating
exactly,
children.
exactly. And they're all sure that they will not be victimizing their children by putting them into early marriages and things like that.
Mm.
They would get their kids educated. So I think in 3 years, seeing this change
Mm.
is something that I'm happy to. carry with me all my life. So that's the thing. Mm.
Yeah. Like as a researcher, I always see how aspiration around education and educating the girl child and
Mm.
employment for the girl child, not does it, it sort of transforms not just one family, but all the family she marries into and all the people that she comes into contact with. So this is a sure shot change mantra, and all the work that you have done, Aparna, has, I'm sure, the last 25 years, the impact that you have had quietly, one person at a time, one student at a time, across three institutions, and the community work that you do to serve has been a very powerful ecosystem building work. I thank you so much for coming to our Lumiere Startup Saturday. And what a nice way it will be to start the new year with your talk. So, thank you once again for being our guest and being part of our first event of 2025.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Deepa, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you watching, and a very, very happy 2025 to you. And may all of your uh, entrepreneurial uh, wishes and the impact that you want to make begin. And maybe this is the first step that you're going to take. So keep looking for these and more talks like this on our YouTube channel, Lumiere Light and Insight. Thank you, Dr. Aparna Rao.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.